understood they were sort of grading the property. And we were able to figure out that when you look at our portfolio, about 15% is what we would call an A property, and I'm going to define that for you. And actually a large percentage is a B property, and then about 25% we would classify as a C, and then obviously you get your total of 100. So what are these? An A house for us is going to be a home that's probably going to be in a price range of probably $90,000 to $120,000 to our investor, and most likely it's going to have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 plus baths. And this house is probably going to be at least 2,000 square feet, which would be, you guys are on the metric system, so you talk in square meters, is that? So this is probably going to be about
190.
Yeah, 190 square meters. We had a married couple in yesterday from London and 2 guys in this morning from Paris, so I'm trying to do my metric translation. So about 2,000 plus, and this house is probably going to rent for $1,200 US, $1,200, and our highest rent that we have at Marathon, we have one house that is rented at $2,000 a month, and so that's an A house, and again, we don't get many of those, but you are going to see some tomorrow. We do have actually, I think, 3 that are available. And you will see there is a difference, but these homes are located in a highly concentrated, we call it an owner-occupied neighborhood. Does that translate? Yeah. Okay. So you have very few rentals, and that's really good. I mean, these houses, we don't keep them. You're going to see one house tomorrow that Clifton will show you, and we will be finishing the renovations over the weekend. It's already rented. $1,600 a month. FedEx is our largest employer, family who's relocating to Memphis, and so anyhow. So this is but you're also warn you, you're going to have your lowest return in this bucket. So your lowest returns, and obviously if we got into luxury housing and you're looking at 150, 200,000, then you're looking at the law of diminishing returns big time, and that's going to be in any market, I would expect. Our workhorse, I call, is our B house, and that's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,500 square feet, and which would be about 130, 140 meters. And this house is going to rent for probably $850 to $1,000 a month. Usually, what determines this B house is parking. And so some of these houses are going to have a 2-car garage, and that's usually where you get $1,000 a month. Some might just have a 2-car carport or a 1-car carport. So the parking usually is pretty big for Americans. I don't know if that's something that consumers focus on in South Africa, but here it's it's huge. Now we got 3-car garages and 4-car garages. We just like to buy stuff here in the U.S. So,
what's the price range for the B?
Oh yes, and then the price range on this, these homes are going to average around $65,000, and that is sort of our average price here in the as far as our world. And again, please understand we're talking about our company, and so. C house, we're going to go down a little bit. We have, I can't remember last time we bought a 2-bedroom house. So the C house most likely, and you'll see some of these tomorrow, is going to be a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, or maybe a 3, 1.5. And again, a half bath is our definition where there's a toilet and a lavatory, but there's no place to take a bath. So that's half bath. And this house is probably going to, trying to stay in order here, it's probably going to be around 1,000 square feet, so about 90 square meters. This house is going to rent for $650, $750 range, and the price point on these is going to be probably 55,000 on the C house, and on this, most likely you're going to have the highest rate of return. And I can tell you in my personal portfolio that me and my wife have, we have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath Cracker Jack box. It's about 800 square feet, and I think I rent it for $395. And I bought it many years ago, and that's sort of our little house that maybe it'll burn down or something, but tenants will be okay. It'll be when they go out to dinner or something. And then we have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. It's actually about 3 years old, and it's rented at $1,800 a month. And I have everything in between. Those are my 2 bookends. This is the sort of the biggest rental property I have, and that's and I have A through Z. And so, and you'll be able to see this tomorrow. And I will tell you, we have many investors that first house we'll show them just happens to be a C house, and they're like, "You got to be kidding me! This is a C," and I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? This would be an A." Where we invest in is like, "Oh, okay." So, again, this is our definition, and so you'll see it firsthand tomorrow. And I'll also share with you that map on the wall is of the city of Memphis, and we only buy 60% of the city. There's 40% of Memphis we don't go into. You know, there's other investors that our C is probably their A, and a house that we're not going to buy is their B, and then the really bad stuff is their C. I mean, there are other ways to invest in Memphis that we don't go into. And you know, the management aspect is just a nightmare, and we refuse to go into it. So, so we try to stay above board, and you'll see that tomorrow. Our renovations, Clifton will be able to answer many questions for you tomorrow when you're out in the field about the renovations, but we are not interior decorators. We have a very cookie-cutter approach to our renovations, and we use the same colors, same ceramic tile, light fixtures. It's the same in every house. And but you will see tomorrow. I'm convinced you'll be very impressed. We want to make it look fresh, new, and you'll see a couple homes that we just finished the renovations, and we could carry you to 100, and they're all going to look the same. So,
just a quick one. I don't know if you're getting onto it. In terms of ABC and the financing component.
that was the last thing I want to talk about.
Yeah. Are they all this financing available for them, or
Yes.
would you mind just going through that basically?
Just before we jump into that, would we find that certain areas have a sorry, I just realised the time. The combination of A, B, C, is it certain areas have predominant B, other areas have predominant C,
Yes.
or are they spread?
If you wouldn't mind, like you did last time, just in front of the map there, just kind of giving us a view of the city, because it's very useful.
I've got a different.
First of all, just to give you a brief history about Memphis. You're staying in downtown. This is where you were at. You flew in right here to Memphis International Airport, and the Mississippi River is the largest river in the United States, and we are called the Bluff City because if you go down to the river tonight, you'll see that Memphis is way up there on the hill. And we received a lot of national and international publicity about 2 years ago. We had these floods here in Memphis, and and we had all our Australian people. Hey, is my house underwater? No, the river has a delta, and the delta is on this side. And actually, the Mississippi River expanded. It was 3 miles wide, which would translate to 5 kilometers. So from downtown Memphis, the river flooded towards Arkansas and then Mississippi south. But this is where Memphis was founded, and obviously due to the river, there's only one way to grow, and that's east. And so as you can continue going east, the construction gets newer. And this is where we're at, the red dot, that's where our office is. There's 7 cities in Shelby County, and it sort of cuts off. Memphis obviously being the biggest one, and 95% of our properties are in Memphis. This is Germantown, actually. I live there, my family, Dave and his family lives there. Collierville is not on the map. We got the city of Bartlett, Lakeland, Millington, and Arlington. And that makes up Shelby County. And our predominant target is almost a reverse horseshoe around our interstate loop. And if you, this black would represent probably 90% of the houses that we buy. Everybody ever heard of Elvis Presley, right?
No. You'll have to explain to these youngsters.
Excuse me.
Well, actually, we'll run you by Graceland tomorrow because you'll actually see some houses here in Whitehaven is the name of this suburb, and this is where Graceland is. There's 80,000 consumers that live in that part of Memphis, and we will tour you around to the southeast and back up around, depending on how much time you guys are allowed. The inner loop here, our postal service sort of divides the country into zip codes and sort of helps sort the mail. And if you look at this zip code right here, 38104, that's the most densely populated zip code in the state of Tennessee. And that's called Midtown. And you have a lot of older construction, a lot of multifamily, and there's investors that do that. And this is where my first office was when I got into real estate. And we did buy a lot of homes in the loop, as we call it, because out here we couldn't touch it. The housing in 04, 05, 06, 07, we could not touch this area because it was dominated by owner occupants, and the numbers just didn't make sense. And obviously the market turned, and that's why you're here today. So, and you'll see firsthand tomorrow. So let me cover the financing that we do have available, and